Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Cassie. I'm so excited for this webinar tonight. If you're new and we've never met each other before, we've never been on a webinar before, we do these every other month and live webinars like live workshops in our office every other month from there. So super excited about tonight. I don't think there could be a better time to do this, or maybe before Halloween for some of you. I should have done this before that because you've eaten too much Halloween candy. But this is the best time to talk about this. The holiday season is here. And before we know it, it will be over. But Thanksgiving is on its way, Christmas, and all of the things that come with that, from parties and cookies and the traditions. So we are going to focus today on sugar. So if you are on this webinar, welcome. I absolutely encourage questions that you can ask, whether you are on Facebook or you are on YouTube. Go post a comment, say hey, or if you hear something and you're like, I didn't know that, or I knew that was not good, whatever it might be, and amen, because that's the kind of speaker that I am. And when I'm on a computer, I can't see you. I don't know who's there. I can just see the number of you, but welcome to Sugar Crash. If you just joined us, I'm Dr. Cassie. There's a big reason why I do this, and we can think about sugar, and of course we would talk about that when it comes with nutrition, but there is a absolute bigger picture of why I spend a Thursday night with you at 5:30 Central Standard Time for an hour or less. It's going to be less. And do this instead of something different. And there's a greater purpose and a greater mission for what I do. And not only just me, but our entire team. Our mission is to inspire you tonight and every day forward, that you would honor the wisdom of your body and to live a life free of interference. God put an amazing healing power and an amazing wisdom inside of your body. It is so intelligent. It is absolutely amazing. And we want to honor that. And so tonight, I hope that you see just the intelligence of your body and how capable it is, but that sugar is a huge interference. It is not allowing your body to reach its fullest potential when we are eating it in the overload. So tonight, be inspired, take action steps, take notes. And if you know me, then you know I only want you to do one or two things, no more than that, action steps. Once you are done off this webinar, take 1 to 2 things that you can apply to your life right now, not 700, because 1 to 2, you'll actually probably do it. And you're more likely to follow through when it's just 1 or 2 things, because I'm going to give you a lot, but write them down, star as you're going through that's the thing that you're going to do starting either today. You could do it. There's still time left, or tomorrow, right away, not January 1st, not this is my New Year's resolution. There's going to be things that you are going to be able to do right now through this holiday season to keep your health on track. So let's talk about sugar. There is a reality to sugar, and we know that sugar is linked to that big word, diabetes. And right now, diabetes, there's more than 30 million Americans that have diabetes, and 1 in 4 don't even know that they have it. 84 million Americans have pre-diabetes, and I'm going to tell you guys, it is not getting any better. It's continuing to get worse and worse and worse. And you know, diabetes may not seem like that big of a deal, but it is. It affects your entire body. It doesn't just affect your pancreas. It doesn't affect just your blood sugar levels. Like, it continues to affect the health of your entire body. Now, sugar, it is the silent killer. I am telling you right now, it is a toxin. It is a toxic substance to our bodies. The impact of sugar on the body is not just diabetes. Like, look at that entire list of what sugar can do to our body. So let's walk through this. Like, the very first one that you see, leading to weight gain. What happens is The problem with sugar is like your body can handle some, but what happens is we're eating it in just so much of an amount that our body can only create disease. It doesn't have any other option because we're so bombarded with this toxic substance. They see excessive fructose, which like sugar, may cause resistance to leptin. Leptin is a hormone that regulates whether or not you are hungry. It tells your body if you are hungry, and it tells your body when to stop eating. Leptin. Research shows that those that drink sugary beverages weigh more than people that don't. It's not just us eating it. A lot of it is even the beverages and the drinks that we're drinking that are bringing all of that sugar inside of our bodies. Let's talk about heart. It harms your heart. Type 2 diabetes and coronary heart disease go together. You can't usually separate them. You might have one before the other, but they go together. This is what's crazy. Because when you think about heart and what that is, a lot of times we'll think about unhealthy fats and atherosclerosis. But do you know what causes heart disease more than anything else? Sugar. Sugar goes in, you look at it under the microscope, and it looks like, you know, those like medieval things where it's like a stick and then there's a chain and there's a ball on it that has spikes everywhere. That is what sugar looks like under the microscope. So it's going through your blood vessels, scraping the sides. Dr. Michael always says, like Wolverine on the sides, just destroying our arteries. The more and more of that we have, we overeat it. We eat too much of it. Our body's not able to process it. And it just goes through our arteries, leading to problems, big problems. Now, let me go back. Depression. Do you guys see causes anxiety and depression? Researchers believe that blood sugar swings when it goes up and it goes down. It affects neurotransmitter dysregulation, causes inflammation in the body, especially in the brain. It says that it affects what your brain looks like. It affects your memory, and it affects even the size and the volume of your brain. So what you eat affects how you think. And you guys know that because sometimes when you eat things or you drink things, it can affect you. Like, I can't even think clear. Like, what is happening? Doing that over and over and over again can lead to mental health issues. And aging, it accelerates the aging process inside of our bodies. When we have sugar, it leads to this production of what's called AGEs, advanced glycation end products. They are proteins or lipids, and they become attached to these sugars, and they can accelerate our skin becoming aging more and then wrinkly. All of that comes from sugar. So how much of this is too much, Dr. Cassie? Like, you say your body can handle some, but like, how much can it handle? Men, 37.5 grams, 9 teaspoons. Women, 25 grams, 6 teaspoons. I want to put this into perspective for you. The way I like to think about it sometimes is I do think about it like a bank account. Like, you only have a certain amount of money in your bank account. When you use all of that money in your bank account, you don't have any more. Like, this is the amount that your body can use. And if you put any more in it, it is like an overdrawn account. But let's put this into perspective. One can of Coca-Cola, look at that total sugar, 39 grams. You drink one soda, you're like, Dr. Cassie, like, I only have like one soda a day. I'm like, you're already over. You already hit the limit of how much your body can handle before it starts to feed into a problem. A disease process in your body creates inflammation, doesn't allow your brain to work or function like it should. For some of you, this might be your action step for today, is you have to stop with drinking soda. No ifs, ands, or buts. And you can look on every one of them, like they still all have sugar. Well, Dr. Cassie, what about like the Coke Zero? And listen, I understand and I get it, but then you're going to have artificial sweeteners, and then we've got other things to talk about. Just get rid of the soda. It's one of the biggest culprits and biggest problems in America, like even more then I would say eating cake and ice cream is drinking way too much sugar. But some of you might be like, well, I don't eat sugar. Well, I'm proud of you for being on here. And you may not, but some of you have to realize that it is hidden in a lot of foods that you might eat frequently and that you might think is healthy and good. So you might think you don't consume a lot of sugar, but here are a few examples of where sugar can be hidden. Well, obviously you can see that's a Snickers bar, and of course that's going to have sugar inside of it. But I went and I looked at like some different candy, and Snickers bars contain 57 grams. You're like, I just have like a Snicker bar every now and then. Your body cannot handle it. It cannot. It's over what it needs to be. A Milky Way is 58 grams, and a Three Musketeers has 60 grams of sugar in it. You guys, it is not good. Halloween candy, just take a look. Look at all of it. Some people are like, just don't look at it and eat it. I'm like, I always have to look at it. Like somebody gave me some gummy, they're from Trader Joe's. Because at church on Sunday, we do fruit roll-ups and things because we're moving different locations and we don't want to like make a mess everywhere with other veggie straws or something like that. And they're like, we got Trader Joe's ones. And I turned it around. They're like, why do you always have to look at the ingredients? I'm like, because it matters what I'm putting in my body. The first 3 ingredients were all sugar in some way, shape, or form. And I was like, I'm not doing it, guys. And they're like, gosh, how do you just do that? I'm like, you learn how to say no. And we're talking mindset first once we get through this. Yogurt. On average, yogurts have anywhere from 5 to 14 grams of sugar in just a little tiny cup. Granola, they use maple syrup and like even the healthy ones, but there's always sugar inside of granola. I went to the store to see, we don't eat granola. And if we do it, we just make it at home because we know it's inside of it. But I was like, surely, because it says sugar-free on the thing and it says like keto, it says all these words on the thing. I'm like, surely. I couldn't find one. I couldn't find one granola at Whole Foods too, of all places, that didn't have sugar in it. And I was like, okay, like here we are, being aware of what that is. And even some fruits. So some fruits like mangoes, they have 2.77 teaspoons. So women, it's 6, men, it's 9. 2.77 teaspoons of sugar. Bananas have 2.48 teaspoons of sugar. Now, those are not added sugars, like they are natural sugars that are inside of there, but we still want to be aware of like we're only eating the high sugar fruits. We want to make sure that we keep those to a minimum because our bodies can't handle all of those things. The other thing I wanted to point out too, and I'm going to go back where I said granola, also cereal. So don't get confused. That kind of looks like granola, but cereal. I went through cereals. Do you know one of the highest ones is Raisin Bran? And I'm guessing it's because of the raisins that are in there and like they can have sugar that's inside of them, but 6.35 teaspoons of sugar. And that's only if you follow the recommendations of like 1 cup inside of a bowl. And then Cocoa Krispies was 7.83 teaspoons. So Honey Smacks, 11.4. Honey Nut Cheerios, 6.67. So we're already over, if you are a woman, eating cereal straight up in the morning, all of that sugar inside of your body. So back up, we talked about this. This is added sugar inside of your body. So what do I mean by added sugar? So sugar is added to products to enhance its flavor, its texture, its shelf life. Like there's a lot of reasons they add sugar to it, but majority of the time it has to do with taste. So to avoid accidentally like consuming a lot of sugar, it's really good idea to know what is sugar on a label. So it's not going to just say sugar. There are 61 different names for added sugar. You can see all of them there. Take a screenshot if you need to, like making sure you have this. You're not going to be able to write them down, like your whole hand will cramp up. But there are so many names. So we're not going to be fooled, not even by the healthy sugar. So you can see things on there like the very first one is agave nectar. And we used to get duped by this, just so you all know. We used to go to Costco, Dr. Michael and I, and we would buy the big, huge things of agave nectar because we were told that it was so good for you. It is amazing. But 70 to 90% of it is fructose without fiber. So fructose is fruit sugar, but when you have the fiber in it, which was what the fruit has, it doesn't go super fast into your body, and your body doesn't like upregulate your blood sugar levels. It keeps it kind of more chill. 10 to 30% of it is straight up glucose. So we don't want that inside of our body. It's just not. Coconut sugar, 70 to 80% of it is sucrose, which is half fructose. Honey is 82% sugar just by weight, and half of that sugar is fructose. So even the healthier ones, we have to watch out. We can't just have those and bombard our bodies with all kinds of sugar, even the healthy ones. So let's get into, well, okay, Dr. Cassie, like, what do I do now? I know that sugar is bad. I've known that sugar is bad. Maybe you learned something new. Write it in the comments if you learned something new. But I have to bring this to light, because if we don't really understand how bad it is, then we can't do anything about it. But the 5 essentials are the answer. They're what we teach in our office. This is how we start to remove that interference with whatever is not allowing our body to fully reach its potential. So we're going to go through each and every one of these, but mindset is where we start. It's where I start for everything. So trying to avoid sugar, especially right now during the holidays, all the social events, all the parties, all the things that we get to, it can be very, very hard, especially right now, to do that, to avoid the sugar, to say no to eating those things if we don't have the right mindset. It's not impossible. We are living proof like that you can do this. You absolutely can do this. So let's first start with this and stop self-sabotaging ourselves. This is critical when it comes to sugar, when it comes to anything nutrition-wise. You've got to stop the self-sabotage. This might not resonate with you, but for some of you, it absolutely might. Some of you have self-sabotaging thoughts and behaviors. And what happens is that you get tired and you get this idea like, I'm feeling good right now. I think we should get ice cream, or I think we should have this sugary thing. We should have this candy. Like, I'm doing so good. It's like our reward is to eat sugar. I want you to remind yourself during those moments, you are worth it. You are worth more than that. You are worth more than the instant gratification of eating the ice cream or the candy or the cake or drinking a soda. Like, you are worth it more than your flesh, like saying, let's do this. You are worth way more than that to get the results that you want, to say no for the final time, to not get sucked into then what happens after that. And it's more and it's more and it's more. And it's like a little bit here and then it goes more and more and more and more. You are not enslaved. Like, you are not enslaved to sugar. You are not. It doesn't control you. It is not part of you. You are worth more than that. And what I love about this is like our journey. I actually wasn't quite as sugary of a lover as Dr. Michael was, but we used to go to CASSIE's yogurt place and it would be piled up. And then there's a moment where we're just like, we're done. We're just done with this. every now and then maybe, but like this is not what we're going to do. And we started to learn how to enjoy good food. Like we started to learn how to enjoy the healthier options. We started to learn how to bake with different sugars that you can have, which we'll go through. Like we started to learn those things so that we could still enjoy this. Another thing that you can do with this on a mindset scale is like you have to link sometimes pain to those foods. Like if you are straight up like Ben and Jerry, and I don't want to bash their company, but Ben and Jerry's ice cream. When you think of that, some of you are like, oh, so good. I love it. When you think of that, you have to link that to pain, like somewhere in your body. Like I know if I'm going to go eat like ice cream or like that's not dairy, that has sugar in it, like there's going to be consequences. It happens every time. I might feel it in my joints. Some of you might even get rashes. Some of you have diabetes. Some of you get so many digestive issues. Like you have to be like, if I do that, then this is going to happen. You link it to that problem and you need to feel that pain and you have to live in it for a minute. You don't want to just go down the path of whatever your body says or whatever feels right or whatever feels good or what you've always known. You have to link it to like, no, I'm just choosing not to, and I'm going to choose better choices. So stress will increase your blood sugar levels every time. Hormones, glucagon is what it's called, and cortisol. They are excreted. So they go out of your body when you're stressed out. These two hormones, glucagon and cortisol, these hormones cause your blood sugar levels to go up. So not only talking about the self-sabotage and the I'm worth it, but then we get stressed out. So sometimes we have to deal with even the stress in order to not have the sugar cravings because it's increasing our blood sugar levels. They're going down, they're going up. One study showed, and we'll talk about exercise, but showed that exercise, relaxation, and meditation significantly reduced stress and lowered blood sugar levels for students. So even things like you're like, oh, I'll just get rid of the sugar, but sometimes we need to calm our minds, relax, get to that place in order to really secure no longer a sugar craving, that it goes away. Now, how do we do this? Here's my best social strategy that I have for you guys. Because you might be like, well, I literally can't even think about how I'm going to do this. Like, how am I ever going to eat at a party? Like, how am I ever going to go out to dinner with my friends? Am I ever going to get to do that again? Yes, absolutely. And I know a lot of times when we go to like these social events, we go to network, we party, whatever it is, that food is oftentimes like the absolute focus of it. But I want it to perhaps not be the main focus, like when you go there. It can be, but I think the better thing that we can do is focus on other things. Now, before you even would go to the thing, this is one of our go-tos. We never go to an event hungry. Like even if there's food that's served, we usually eat a little something before we go. There's two reasons for that. One, especially if I don't know what food is there, I want to make sure that I'm not starving and hungry, because not only will you make terrible choices when you're hungry, you go to the grocery store, all these things end up in your cart. Don't go hungry to an event because you would just eat everything, and then everything that you just learned on this webinar, everything that you just decided you were going to do, you drew a line in the sand. Well, that all just went gone. So eat a little something beforehand. That way you're not just mindlessly snacking on things, and that you can do that. The second one, focus on activities, like whatever it is. It actually like talk to someone, like socially engage with someone, like do something else instead of just hanging by where all the food is. It's your, if your mouth is talking, then you're not really eating. So when you're talking, you can't really eat at the same exact time. So when you're talking to more people, perhaps you may not eat all of the things. Don't linger near the food table. Go away from it. If you are one of those snackers that picks and picks and picks and picks and finds the things and just knows that you just keep eating because it's right in front of you, just know that about yourself and just don't do that. Have a conversation with people. That goes on with like focusing on the activities, talking with people. Plan ahead. Ask questions. Like if you need to ask questions like, hey, is this going to be, what kind of food is there? Just wanting to see what it's going to be like. Like if it's a buffet, that's usually a better thing because there's usually different options for you. So you can usually pick something healthier and better. Ask somebody for a menu. Like ask them what you're going to have. There's no problem with that. Potlucks are always really great because on the one below it, it's like bringing a healthy dish. You know what you're going to bring. So when you do that, bring something that you will eat that you love, and you at least have one thing that you can eat. And I will tell you something, every time that I go to a potluck and I bring my healthy whatever it is, it's gone immediately. And it's because people appreciate that you would bring something healthy, but sometimes in their brains, it's only casseroles and all the other things and the things that their mom and everything made. And then they're so grateful because most people want to live a healthy life. They just don't quite know how to do it. And then the last one, avoid alcohol. There's two reasons for this. Alcohol has a lot of sugar in it when it's broken down. Plus, if you mix like you have a Jack and Coke, or if you have a vodka and whatever that other drink is, like whatever your mixer is usually full of sugar. And sometimes that's where a lot of the sugar comes into play. Like, and the other part is like think about when you have too much alcohol. Anybody has too much alcohol. You don't think very well, like your brain just shuts down. And two, you're hungry and then your whole diet and everything goes out. So that part right there, being able to regulate your blood sugar levels, avoiding alcohol, having one or two drinks, having water in between. If you're going to drink, like have a drink, then have water, and then have a drink, like being able to hydrate yourself, balance out your blood sugar levels. That is this is how we do it. This is the main thing and the main way of how to crush the holidays and parties and social gatherings. Look at the menu ahead of time. If you're going to a restaurant with like friends, just ask ahead. I used to not want to be that person. And if you're like, I don't want to be that person, like I just want to show up and whatever, you can choose to do that. So sometimes we just show up and whatever it is whatever it is. We've made that decision. But for a lot of you, you need to just get over it and be like, I'm just going to be that person, and it's okay for me to be that person. People are happy to help. Okay. Prioritize your good sleep. When you don't sleep well, you develop leptin desensitization. That leptin is the hormone. It's released by fat cells. It interacts with your brain, the hypothalamus, and it says, I'm full. When you don't get enough sleep, you don't allow your body to be able to have the leptin to tell your body that you are full. So then you can overeat. You can also become hungrier and also have more cravings. So go to bed on time. This is another part that's difficult during this time, but prioritize your sleep. Last night, Dr. Michael and I went to the Tea Pack. It was Mrs. Doubtfire. And our bedtime is between 8:30 and 9, and it has been for forever. That thing went until 10. Our eyes were like so closed, all of that. But I'm going to tell you, then that bled into this morning, and we're like, there's no way we can work out. And so when we don't prioritize that sleep, literally everything just doesn't go well. So here's between 10 and 10:30 is a good place to be. You don't have to be like us from 8 to 8:30. Like I'm not, or 8:30 to 9. We wake up at 4:30 in the morning. So that's why it has to do that. But between 10 and 10:30, that is when you need to go to bed. But start at 9 o'clock, around 9 o'clock, turn everything off, like very light and enjoyable. You can have a conversation with people, but it shouldn't be about anything that you're trying to solve. Like it shouldn't be, we're going to change the world at 9 o'clock at night. Like it needs to be calm. Lights should be down. Phones away, computers away, work away, not a stressful time, and get 7 to 8 good quality hours of sleep every night. And that will help stabilize your blood sugar levels, reduce your cravings, because leptin will be able to tell you, I am full. All right, let's get into some nutrition. You guys still with me? Let me just check all of that. What about honey that you get from a beekeeper? Yeah, so we have patients that are beekeepers, Susan, and we have a huge thing of it, and we just use a little bit, barely. It's better, like local raw honey that you get, of course, is better, but just not having a whole lot of it. So you have your limit, 6 teaspoons a day of total sugars. If you want to use honey as being part of that, you absolutely can. If that's what we did, we would choose a more healthier version. Great question. All right. How do we balance our blood sugar levels out with food? So we talked about the mindset and what that looks like, and that is good to start off with. But here are a few things that you can do to balance out your blood sugar. 1, eat lower carb vegetables and eat them in the variety of like raw, cooked, roasted, sauteed. Like you want a variety of how you make them. But low carb options like mushrooms, onions, eggplants, tomatoes, Brussels sprouts, zucchini, those are good because lower on the carb, like if they're higher in carbs, like sweet potatoes and carrots, like they still are pretty sugary, even though they're a vegetable. So staying away from the higher carb veggies are really, really good. Eating a variety of green vegetables. So this goes beyond though your regular just salad mix, like eating things like kale and spinach and chard. And the reason this is good is because they balance out your blood sugar levels by creating a better pH inside of your body and giving you nutrients. Like if your body doesn't have the nutrients that it needs, it will go looking for it somewhere else. And sometimes that can be in sugar, even though there's no nutrients inside of sugar whatsoever. But your body will start those cravings and think that it needs sugar. And instead, it actually just needs nutrients from vegetables and greens, all of that. Then, anytime you think that and we'll talk about this again, but water is fantastic to balance out your blood sugar levels. Now, infusing it with things like cucumber and lemons, those are absolutely so good at balancing out your blood sugar levels. When it comes to fruits like that, lower sugar fruits are better though than the high sugar fruits. So what are those low sugar fruits? Granny Smith apples, not grapes. Don't eat grapes. They actually have a lot of sugar in them. I mean, you can eat them, but just that's not the low sugar fruit. Berries, Granny Smith apples, and grapefruits, lemons, limes, avocado, if you consider that a fruit. Those are the ones that are the lowest on the glycemic index. So Dr. Michael and I, we really only buy blueberries, frozen blueberries, and we buy Granny Smith apples to snack on. We don't like grapefruit, so we don't buy it. But that's just that's where we stay in the fruit world the majority of the time. Also, healthy fats. Those nuts that you see right there, adding healthy fats are fantastic. Olive oil, avocado, nuts and seeds like almonds and walnuts can help balance out your blood sugar levels. Protein is also essential. It's not on here. That'll be on the next one, but protein is essential for your cells and your muscles to repair any damage. So when you choose to eat more protein, it can help balance out your blood sugar levels as well. So things like organic, free-range chicken, grass-fed beef, wild-caught fish, pasture-raised eggs, those are also a fantastic way to balance your sugar levels with food. So what do you do about the cravings? The first one I just talked about, eating protein, protein-rich foods, meat, fish, eggs, they're really good at curbing hunger. They've done research and they found that high protein diet has a significant role in improving appetite, body weight management, and cardio metabolic risk factors. So eating protein, now not just any protein, you may have heard me say things like grass-fed beef. So it has to be good quality, healthy proteins. The second thing, go for a walk. Exercise increases endorphins and those feel-good chemicals inside of your brain that can help turn those sugar cravings off, completely off, just by going for a walk. Avoid artificial sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners are even worse than sugar. And artificial sweeteners have been shown also to trigger cravings when you have them because of their sweetness and their chemicals that are inside of there. They're artificial. Avoid them at all costs. They did a study and they found that artificial sweeteners, non-nutritive sweeteners is what they're called. There's no nutrients to them whatsoever, may promote weight gain due to the cravings and the addictive behavior behind them. So that's like your Splenda, your aspartame that's in Diet Coke. It's the pink packet, the yellow packet, and the blue packets. All of those are artificial sweeteners. We want to stay completely away from them. Eat some fruit. Helping control cravings, your body just might need a little bit of a sweetness. Like eat the fruit and it may satisfy your sweet cravings because they're sweet, but they also have fiber. So when fruit has all of it together like that, that's how God designed it. It is made to be eaten that exact way. Berries are an excellent source of it. There's nutrients inside of them. They are high in antioxidants. They are low in sugar. Granny Smith apples, those are also really great. Dark chocolate. Dark chocolate especially contains 70% cocoa. It contains a polyphenols in it as well. And usually dark chocolate has less sugar. We prefer dark chocolate from Lily's chocolate because it's sweetened with stevia. It doesn't have any sugar in it whatsoever, but that could be something that helps. Now, water. I was talking to somebody today, Kira, if you're listening, you might be listening. It's easier than you think to misinterpret thirst as hunger. In fact, dehydration sends the same signal in your brain and it interprets it as low blood sugar. And there's this mixed signal that can happen. And that's because it's in the same area of your brain. So when it says it's time to eat, it actually means it's really just time to hydrate. Your hunger and your thirst centers are located right next to each other in the hypothalamus of your brain. So when you have a craving coming, hydrate your body and move. Move around the house, whatever it might be. But when you're drinking the water, put a little bit of a pinch of salt in it, or if you have electrolyte powder, put the electrolytes inside of there. Make sure there's no sugar in there or artificial sweeteners. Make sure it's only like monk fruit or stevia. Put a little bit of pinch of salt in there in 8 ounces of water, drink it down and walk around the house for a minute. That can help control the cravings. It could be that you are just needing to drink water. Greens powder. I love a greens powder. We love greens first. It's our favorite. It balances out your pH. Sugar cravings a lot of times can come from even your gut health and what that looks like. This helps balance that out. It's our favorite. You get 17 to 18 servings of vegetables and fruits inside of that, inside of the greens powder. And you drink it and it helps just get you nutrients that you need, stops the cravings, stops all of that from happening. This could be your link to that first couple weeks as you stop eating sugar. Some of you know you might get headaches, you might get issues, but this part right here, the greens first, can absolutely be a way to be able to bridge that gap. The other thing is take supplements, like take your daily essentials, because when your body has the nutrients that it needs inside of there, then it doesn't want to crave other things. So you give your body what it needs on a daily basis, give it the nutrients, give it the vitamins that it needs. And I wish that we could get it all from our food, but it's hard. It's difficult. Our soil's been depleted massively. We don't get as much. Like a cup of spinach from 1940 had more nutrients and vitamins in it than the cup of spinach that we have now. It's like a third of it. And so we need these nutrients. This is a bridge. Like this is a bridge that from where you're at to where you want to be, that just allows your body to be able to have what they need. And we take the daily essentials. Oxygen and exercise. Exercise increases insulin sensitivity. When you think about exercise, if people with diabetes just started exercising, it would help their numbers significantly. yes, changing food and changing diet, but movement increases your insulin sensitivity. So insulin is what's made by your pancreas, and it attaches to the sugar inside of there. It's a hormone. And so when we have too much sugar, insulin's not able to make enough, and your body keeps saying, make more, make more, make more, make more, make more. It starts to become sensitive, and it starts to go, I ain't got anything left. I got nothing left to make, because you just keep eating too much sugar. Then your body creates this insulin. But insulin sensitivity is increased when you exercise. And that's because your muscle cells are better able to use any available insulin to be able to take up the glucose inside of your body during and after exercise. So not even just when you're doing it, but afterwards, you still reap the benefits of moving. When your muscles contract during exercise and activities, your cells are able to take in glucose, so take in sugar, and then use it for energy where insulin isn't available at that time. This is how exercise can help lower your blood glucose levels short term. Long term, regular activities will help to decrease A1C levels. That is incredible, and it's free. You don't have to go to a gym. You just need to start moving. Go for a walk. Go for a little bit of a run. Go for a jog. Start doing squats every morning. Just start moving. You need to get up and move. It will help with sugar cravings. Minimizing toxins. What does that have to do with sugar? You ready for this? Diabetogens. This is not an actual new term at all, but it's just now really starting to come to the light. It dates all the way back to like 1960s. They done research back then. This is when this term came to be. So diabetogens was coined back in 1960s. And what they found is that chemicals and toxins in the environment mimic your hormones, human hormones. These compounds, they enter into your body and they wreak havoc on your hormonal system. And in the case of diabetes, they cause dysfunction within the pancreas itself, affecting how insulin is released and how blood sugar is controlled. So the pancreas, it's described as this, it's called a velvety organ. And what that means in its anatomy, it's very susceptible to accumulation of toxins. And what happens like with things like pancreatitis, pancreatic dysfunction, diabetes, and unlike other organs, the pancreas cannot clean itself out of these compounds. It's not able to. And they've seen this correlation between these chemicals, especially over the past 5 decades. It's continuing right with diabetes as part of these diabetogens. And in the last 50 years, chemical production in our country has risen more than 1,000%. So it's impossible for us to completely avoid all of these substances. They're everywhere. The biggest ones that are diabetogens are arsenic. Arsenic, you can primarily get that through your diet from like affected seafood, poultry, rice, and even in drinking water. The other one is BPA. And I know that there's a lot of BPA-free plastics, but it's still in production today in other plastics that we have. But it can be in food plastic. It can also be in drinking packaging, lining of cans. So when you buy a canned food, if it doesn't say BPA-free, there's BPA that's still inside of the can lining. Dioxins, these are organic pollutants. They're mainly found in like industrial areas. So like plants that do things like industrial areas, this has a lot of dioxins in the air that you can breathe in. Pesticides, Countless amounts of pesticide are sprayed on our crops every day to repel all the bugs, but also there's a runoff that happens, and that can be a problem with the amount of pesticides and then the water, and then it goes into the ground. It contaminates our drinking water and the air around farms. And then the last one is phthalates. Phthalates are found everywhere. And the flexibility and the durability of plastics, they are found in a lot of health and beauty products, fragrances, makeup. They've been linked and been detected in milk and in butter and other fatty foods, especially things that are stored in plastic. The reason is because they are easily absorbed and stored by fats. So here's the thing. Yes, research has found all of this, like blood sugar control, pancreas function, just from the chemicals. The biggest two out of those, though, are BPA. The BPA stimulates pancreatic beta cells. They're responsible for making insulin. So when there's BPA inside of our bodies, it disturbs our body's insulin signaling, and that can lead to insulin resistance. So it not only increases our risk of diabetes, but also can increase obesity and visceral fat. So that's like fat around the body that doesn't protect our organs. It's extra body fat, and it's the most dangerous body fat, and it accumulates all over our bodies. The other one is arsenic. Arsenic causes decreased insulin production. So what can you do? We can try to avoid them at all costs. However, that is really hard to do. So we need to support our body's ability to detox these toxins. It was made to, it was designed to. One of the best ways is to sweat. That's why we love saunas. Exercising, you can also sweat, so that's part of it. But sweating is phenomenal. It's a phenomenal detoxing technique. So not only through exercise and achieving it that way, but you can also go to a sauna, whether you have it at like a gym or you go to like, there's a studio that's over here. I think it's still called CYL. Dr. Michael and I went to that. You can buy a sauna, talk to us. We usually prefer infrared saunas. But my best recommendation for sweating is not necessarily a sauna. It is to exercise and work out. Try to 30 minutes a day of getting that sweat out of your body. Now, Epsom salt baths are also absolutely amazing. It helps the magnesium inside of there, helps detox your body. A warm bath, also you're sweating in there, whether you realize it or not, and it's starting to take toxins out of your body. Fasting, not eating for a certain amount of time, helps your body detox. Sometimes people do intermittent fasting. Sometimes you do one day. Sometimes people are crazy enough and they'll do 3 days, and you might do a 3-day water fast or a 3-day bone broth fast. But when you're doing that, it helps your body to be able to detox because you're not eating. So when you're eating, your body has to use all of that energy to go out and digest your food. When you're not eating that food and you're doing it for a purpose, you're not starving yourself. That's not what I'm saying. But when you are fasting, it allows your body to go in and clean out areas that it hasn't had the time to do. You guys know how many of you have been trying to clean out that room in the back of your house for so long, or that cupboard or that closet, and you just don't have time, but you can make time when other things are done. So your body does the same thing. If you constantly have food inside of it, it's not able to do the things that it needs to do from there. It takes all of its energy to do that. Plus, it gives your digestive system a break. So it gives your pancreas a rest. It doesn't have to go out and find all the sugar and like try to get it out so that it helps save your body, because there's a wisdom inside of there that we need to honor, and it's like tired. So you give it a break. NAC, N-acetylcysteine. This is a precursor for what's called glutathione. Your body already makes glutathione. Your liver makes it. It's the master antioxidant. But N-acetylcysteine is that precursor. And so when you have this extremely powerful antioxidant inside of your body, it contains these sulfur compounds. And what they do is they go out and they catch and they eliminate any free radicals. They also eliminate heavy metals and other toxins that we just talked about. There's no food source for NAC. But the body does convert NAC into cysteine, and then it goes into glutathione. And so when you have that inside of your body, it helps your body to be able to decrease any toxins, boosting what your body's already detoxing in the first place. Increase fiber. Fiber is important. It binds to toxins in the gut, and it helps to get them out of your gut. Into poop. It excretes them out of your body. So increase your intake of organic vegetables. That is your best way to get more fiber. And then the last one, I added this in because today we did a supplement seminar with myself and then Maria, Myra, and Dr. Aaron. We go through different supplements and we talk about them. And I was doing advanced TRS. We're out of it in our office right now, but it's one of the best things to do to bind to toxins. It's made from zeolite in the nanoparticles, so very, 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 very small, but it works to trap any heavy metals, so like arsenic, trapping them, mercury, aluminum, all of that, traps them and removes them from the body. And it's a pretty incredible resource. It comes from the earth. Zeolite comes from the earth. It's a natural compound that helps your body to detox. Last part. I really want to tell you guys a study that they did. It was absolutely incredible. But when we talk about chiropractic, I can't leave this out. And they've done studies with blood sugar and what that looks like. And don't turn off your things now, especially if you're a patient. This is important. All the things that I just talked about, they absolutely matter. But there's one thing that runs all the health and all the healing and all the function in your body, and that is your nervous system. And if it cannot communicate to your body, if there's an interference that's not allowing it to work right, it doesn't matter. You can eat the most healthy food. You can take zeolite. You can take advanced TRS. You can get rid of and you can sweat every day. But if your brain cannot communicate to tell your body where and how to do that, and there's an interference, you're only going to get so far. You will never reach the fullest potential of what God made your body to be able to do. It's impossible. And so when you look at that, your brain controls everything. If we disconnect your brain from your body, everything stops. It's the master control center. It is the absolute place where everything, all the power, all the life, all the healing comes from. And the only way that it sends messages to any part of your body is it has to go down your spinal cord, out through the nerves, to every muscle you have, every cell you have, and every tissue you have. And it has to look a certain way in order for it to do it. From the side, just like you see there, it has to have those three curves. From the front, it has to be straight. It's like a hose. You can't kink it anywhere and interfere with it. It won't get the messages that it needs to. And they did a study. Here's what I want to tell you. They did an oral glucose testing that was performed on 201 people with a spinal cord trauma. So 201 people, spinal cord trauma, did an oral glucose test. What they found, the dependent variables, they included the values from the oral glucose test and diagnostic testing, diabetes, along with impaired glucose tolerance. So all of that together. So they tested their glucose, their insulin. They checked to see, like, did they have a diagnosis, what that looked like. The study concluded that patients with the greatest levels of neurological deficit have increased risk for developing disorders of their metabolism. So where their spines were not working like they should can affect how their bodies are able to metabolize glucose. Crazy. I was like, oh my God, but everything runs from there. Of course, that is how the body works. Of course, they would see things like that. They also did a case study in 2011 in the Journal of Pediatric, Maternal, and Family Health Documents. A four-year-old child had terrific results stabilizing her blood sugar through chiropractic care. This patient at 4 years old was diagnosed with a spinal subluxation, a misalignment in the upper part of her spine. It had shifted out of position. She began chiropractic care. She was seen for 24 times over 2 months. Some of you might be like, my God, that's a lot. Yeah. When you have a misalignment at the very beginning, it's like braces on teeth. You have to move it. Monitor, move it, monitor it. During this 2-month period, she experienced a decrease in her hemoglobin A1C from 7.2% to 6.5%. She also decreased the amount of insulin used from 15 units a day to 11 units per day. The only thing that they changed was getting her adjusted. Her body was able to function better. It was able to interpret the environment better. She was able to, like, her pancreas came alive. That is the power of chiropractic. And we can't have full health and healing if we don't have chiropractic. If we have interference, it doesn't work. For some of you, you need to know what warning signs that would be. Like, how do I know if my spine's misaligned? Well, your body can tell you, not always, because you don't have to have a warning sign to get adjusted. You don't have to have a warning sign for your spine to be misaligned. But here are a few. And if you've never been checked, reach out to us. Major Family Chiropractic, we will assess and we will see if there's any interference that's not allowing your body to heal. Don't miss out on all that God has for you when it comes to your health. Everything is connected. Everything. So, action steps. These are for you. What is that one thing? What are those two things? That is it. Share them in the comments if you want to. If you need accountability, write them in there. I'd love to see them. What are these action steps? What is that 1 to 2 thing that you're going to do come today? Maybe you're going to go for a walk. I don't know. It's kind of dark outside. Make sure you wear something that's like flashing. I don't know. Maybe you're going to move. Maybe you can do some squats like right where you are. I'm going to do some things to help my body that way. Maybe you're going to look to see if there's any toxic things that your body's doing. Maybe you're going to take an Epsom salt bath tonight. I don't know. Maybe you're going to make an appointment to get adjusted. I don't know. What is that action step? Don't go to bed tonight without writing that down. And then lastly, if you want to connect with us, I think some of the best ways to do that is on our Instagram. That's where the majority of my time goes, is on there. Not the majority of my time, but like for connection, like of all of the social medias, it goes to Instagram at Major Family Chiro. We put a lot of things with health and wellness on there, events coming up. And then YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, you might know, but I have all the past webinars that I've done. If you go to the top and you go to live, it'll have all the past webinars. If you ever are in the office and you're watching the TV and you're like, oh, I wanted to see that video that was on there, but I didn't get a chance, or I'd love to share that with somebody. All of the videos that are on our TV when you are wobbling in the office are also on our YouTube channel, and you can watch them. You can share them with people. They are all available to you. I said it wasn't going to be, I love it. Susan said, stop looking for sweets after dinner. Absolutely. So good. So you might need to replace that with something else. So instead of looking for sweets after dinner, because it's still going to come, you might want to say, instead of that, I'm going to do this instead. Like I might read or open a book, or I might do 10 squats, or I'm going to drink some water with, that, or I'm going to have a piece of fruit instead. That can help sometimes switch those habits that we have afterwards, because otherwise it can stay inside of your brain. So good. I know I said it wasn't going to be an hour. I'm like 59 minutes. Really, really good. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Just got off my couch and did 50 air squats. Good job, Hannah. I didn't know I could show that, but everyone now saw it. Way to go, girl. All right. I love you all. If you have any questions, you know where to reach me, Dr. Michael. But please reach out to us. We're happy to help. Okay. See y'all. Crash the sugar.